Hey guys, today's video is going to be my favorite makeup brushes or most used makeup brushes. I saw my brushes and I thought I could just go through my brushes, particularly my used brushes that are dirty. Then we know that I actually like them. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking me out, and if you want to see my most used brushes, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to start with face brushes, I guess. I will mention the only foundation brush that I like, and this is the It Cosmetics Love. It's the foundation brush. They come out with this once a year and it has a different handle design every year. The profits go to breast cancer research type stuff. I believe it must be in October. I believe that's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It just makes the foundation look really nice. You can, rub it or whatever, but then you can also press it in to get more coverage. And it's the only foundation brush that I've ever tried that doesn't leave streaks. Overall, this is a really great brush. Normally, I powder my under eyes with a sponge because I typically use sponges for my concealer and most of my foundations, to be honest. But if I don't want to pack this powder underneath my eyes, I use this brush. This is the Ecotools No Name brush. But it has like an angled edge like this. That's pretty much the only thing I use this brush for, is to pat my under eyes with powder if I just don't want to put too much, or if like I blotted and I want to add more powder for some reason, I'll just use this because it's kind of small enough to be precise but also cover a lot of ground all at once. I know tons of brands have brushes that are like this, but this little angle is just like perfect for your under eyes and I love it. My most used brush is definitely this guy right here. This is the Ecotools No Label brush. I've had this forever. It's just a big powder brush. I use this to set my whole face, and I also use this to blend out like bronzer, blush, and highlight when I feel like I need it to all blend together more. I use this every single time I do my makeup. I don't really know why, but there's definitely some like bite marks on it, and I don't know what that would be from, to be honest. There's a few hairs sticking out here and there, but overall it's never really shedded on me and I still use it, and I've washed it a bajillion times. You're gonna see a lot of Ecotools in this video because they're my favorite brush brand. For bronzer, I go between two brushes. They're both by Ecotools. Are you surprised? So this is the Ecotools full powder brush, and I like to use this when I don't want a super precise bronze, when I just want it to look more natural and more overall bronze everywhere. I love using this in the summer months especially because it just helps everything look sun-kissed and natural. I also love this brush. This is the Ecotools Define brush. When I bought it, it's more like dome shape, but sometimes when I wash it, they start looking whatever. This is really good for bronzing too because you can start with being precise and then just kind of blow it out. Just depends on whether or not want a more blown out look or a little bit more precise, but like these are both really good. Another brush that I like using for bronzer sometimes is this Aesthetica P12 brush. I got this in a BoxyCharm. When I first got it, I thought it was too flimsy, but if you have a bronzer that's a little bit more pigmented, more powdery, and so a lot comes off on the brush, this is a really good brush for it because it's a little more flimsy, so it just kind of like blends out effortlessly, and it's just a really nice brush for something like that. Or I use this brush for like a bronzer topper, so if I have a more sheeny bronzer that I want to go on top of a matte bronzer, I really like this brush as well. For blush, I only have one brush, the Ecotools Airbrushed finishing brush. This is like a Duofibre brush, which I've been looking for another one of these Ecotools ones, and you can typically only buy them if you buy them in a bundle, which I'm totally fine with doing, but I want to buy it in stores because I hate paying for shipping and waiting for it. Definitely love this stuff. I have other brushes that I will use for blush if this one's still damp from washing it. This Ecotools brush that again doesn't have a name on it. I used to use this for blush, but I feel like it's too dense. You risk putting that like stamp of blush on. So this is the Ecotools Controlled Setting Brush. Kathleen Lights raves about this, and once I got my hands on it, I definitely understand why. It's perfect for highlighting. I used to use a fan brush for highlighting, and I do think that makes a pretty finish. Like this gives you more precise application, and then I'll just go over it with my powder brush and blend it out if it's a little too harsh, so that it's reminiscent of like the Anastasia A26 brush. I know ColourPop has a brush like this. I've never tried either of those, but this is my favorite brush for highlighting. Like I said, I used to use a fan brush, this one in particular, and I did like it for this. So it just depends on what kind of look you're going for. This just gives you a little bit more control and more pigment strength than the fan brush. This is the Zoreya Duofibre 821 brush. This is from a kit on Amazon. What I like to use this for is like if I have a finishing powder that has a little bit of a sheen in it because I want to give my whole face more of a glow, I'll just dip into that and then go my forehead, in between my eyebrows, you know, wherever, and it gives such a light natural finish because it is like a Duofibre brush, so it blends out really nicely, but it's also small enough to be precise, so it's perfect for stuff like that. That's pretty much all I use it for. I guess if you had a harsh highlight you could use it to blend out since it is more precise, but I do like using it for like a more controlled finishing powder topper at the end of my makeup. So let's move on to eye brushes. I use this every single time I do my makeup, even if I don't do eyeshadow. This is the Ecotools Eyeshadow Brush. That's what it's called. It has this like tapered triangle end, really nice for getting into this inner corner right here, and it has this big flat area so it covers a lot of ground at one time. I use this to just set down my concealer or eyeshadow primer or whatever, just to get rid of that tacky base and have a nice matte base for eyeshadow. I use this every single time, whether it's me dipping into my face powder, translucent powder, just a bone colored shadow. I haven't found another brush like it, to be honest, so I love this. I'm real upset at Wet n Wild because I have 3 of these brushes, and I want you to see also the inconsistency of these. I don't even know what they're called, but they're just like the Wet n Wild fluffy brushes. They're only $1 each, and that's why I have 3 of them, and they're honestly my favorite blending brush. There's tons of brands I'm sure that have brushes like this. I just haven't replaced these, but I did want to mention them because I do use these every single time I do my makeup, transition shades or just bronzer or whatever in the crease. And sometimes if I just want a more natural glowy look, I will take it in a shimmery-ish shade that's got like a sheen look to it, and I'll just rub it on top of the lid too. That was my like go-to summer look. I love these, but I'm looking to replace them. I think I'm gonna look into e.l.f. brushes so I can get something at a similar price point. But I mean, I did pay for these, so I'm not like tossing them out. I'm still gonna use them. But basically any big fluffy brush is a must for me. From Alamar Cosmetics. It came in their Ojitos eye sets, the first one with the green handles. I like using this for the second color I use after a transition shade when I'm doing like a smoky eye look. It's just like the perfect size for blending it into your crease and it being more blown out without it being not precise at all, but it's not super precise. See what I'm saying? You could totally use this as a transition color brush, but it's not quite as fluffy as I prefer for that. We got these in BoxyCharm and I really love them. I think I'm actually going to mention all of them in this. So when it comes to precise outer corner colors, especially like black, I like to use a brush like this. This is the Ecotools Pointed Concealer Brush. I cannot imagine using this for concealer. I don't know if you can see. It has a rounded end, but it also is like very dense and stiff, so it allows you to be very precise with application. So I love that about this brush. I wouldn't say this is like the best of the best for blending. I typically go in with another brush to blend out, but this is more for application. It's dense, it's going to give you a very pigmented, precise application. It's another brush that I like to use for the outer corner. This is the Luxie 121 Mini Tapered brush. This is again the perfect size to get right in that outer corner, but it also is a little bit fluffier than the Ecotools brush, so it's not quite as dense, so it's good to use to blend out and blend together shades. Talk about flat shader brushes. I've got quite a few here. They all kind of serve the same purpose in my opinion. I have the Luxie 246 Precision Crease brush, Luxie 245 Small Shader brush, the Alamar Cosmetics Flat Shader brush, Zoreya Shader 810 brush, and then this unlabeled, I'm gonna assume Ecotools brush. All have similar shapes, but they vary in size. So I'll use this a lot of times for highlighting the brow bone, just because I can just get some highlight on that tip and then just put it right under my brow. This one, same thing, but I could also use these to put a color all over my lid if I want. These 3 I use for more precise packing of colors on the lid because they're so tiny. You can really get exactly where you want. I use these if I ever do a cut crease, which is really rare, or applying like looser pigments or pressed glitters. These are great for that as well. When it comes to the lower lash line, I had a little trouble for a long time with getting that faded look, like the dark to light. I found that sometimes it's your brushes. I use brushes like this. These are like flat liner brushes, but I use them to push color right up against my lower lash line. So I have the Alamar flat shader brush, the Zoreya flat eyeliner 811 brush, and the Ecotools eyeliner brush. All same concept, but I love all of these. Don't hurt my eyes. They're not scratchy, but they're just perfect for just pushing that up there and then just blending it out just a little bit. I also love using this Ecotools eye/lip blur brush, and this is basically just a standard pencil brush. This I will use for either that first color or the second color, or to just blend it out. It's the perfect size. It's got a little domed tip. If you're wanting a more smoky look, I definitely recommend these two. This is the Luxie 111 mini flat angled and the Luxie 141 mini round. These came together, obviously, as you can tell. These are both really good for getting that smoky lower lash line, and you could even use these on top. I don't know if you can see, but they both have different shapes, make it really easy to be precise. For that last blowout color, or to just really blend out that lower lash line, I have to say I love these three. Zoreya Angled Shadow 809, the Luxie 131 Mini Angled, and then the Ecotools Unnamed Brush. The reason I like these is because they are fluffy, but they're skinny enough this way to just get underneath and just really blow out that look. I used to take like a big fluffy brush like this and pinch it so it was like a little fan brush, and then just like really go in. I know you can buy brushes specifically for that, just haven't done that, but these three kind of get that idea across. They are angled, but it's not a problem for me to just turn my hand and blend it out, and it just makes for a really good, really clean, blended out lower lash line. I also really love this Zoreya Brow Combo 806 brush. I like this not for my brows. I like to use this comb side. Or if my eyelashes are looking a little clumpy, I'll just comb through them and get the clumps out. It's quick and easy, and so that's why I love this brush. Please let me know down below what you guys would like to see next, beauty or not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Oh, how lipstick on teeth.